My best friend Ben and I decided to hitchhike around the world and meet 1,000 addicts and cops and diplomats and farmers and sailors and Rastafarians, each one of them a drop of dew in Indra's net. And then we'd write the greatest book together.
The first time I took the wheel of a 95-foot tugboat in the middle of the Caribbean Sea, I figured that shit was like a Subaru. Boy, was I wrong.
When Ben was still alive, he used to talk about the serpent Vitra and how this serpent would block up the rain and stop up the rivers. But then Indra, the god of lightning, came down and killed the serpent, thereby restoring happiness to the world.
You can fix a boat with a plank of wood. He shoved it down into the piston and he created almost like a second gasket, and we were off and off and off again, going 2 knots. 2 knots across the Caribbean Sea, 3 weeks to the coast of Florida. Slower than fucking walking.
You might have heard of the Synoptic Gospels. Well, Ben and I decided to write the Synaptic Gospels, structured around the ancient Chinese oracle, the I Ching. He wrote the Gospel according to Simeon, and I wrote the Gospel according to Baruch. The idea was that if we wrote the greatest, weirdest book called Ungoverned Spaces, in the process of writing it, we would defeat the serpent.
And the shadow of the man came down, and he was old. It was an old man's shadow. And I was glad because the sun wasn't in my eyes anymore. He said to me, "Son, you want a job?" I said, "Maybe I do. And maybe I don't. Maybe I came all the way to Texas to tell you no."
Indra, the king of heaven, above his house in Mount Meru, northern India, was this massive net. And at the intersection of every one of the strands was a single drop of dew. And the sun would rise in the morning and shine through these drops. And then every one of these drops of dew would be the reflection of every other drop of dew. Reflections inside reflections inside reflections.
Somewhere in Texas, Bracy came to us in the morning and he said, "For $70, will you come to my lot again and clean up some more shit?" And I said, and Nate said, "Of course we will. That's what we do." So he slaughtered a goat and he put it on the coals.
All that was before Y2K, before Columbine, before cell phones, before 9/11, before Donald Trump. The air felt different then somehow. More crisp and clear and present.
I don't remember what we cleaned up on the 3rd day. After we were paid in cash, $20 each for 12 hours. I said, "Thanks, man. Maybe I'll see you again."
10 years later, Ben and I decided to retrace our steps. We drove down to Florida and stood on the deck of the Tudahaco. Then we drove out to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and then down to New Orleans, and then across into Texas and into San Antonio on our way down to the border. And could be that on Earth or in Indra's heaven, even as the sun's reflecting in the dew, it's slowly burning away those drops. And yet, there was this one moment in Texas. There was one dewdrop that remained. And sitting there underneath the tree was the same homeless guy that we had eaten grilled goat meat with a decade before. He looked up when he saw us. We stepped out of the car. He paused for a minute, and then he said, "You two, where you been?"
And the outlaw in the field, sleeping